Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing the second variant of the tourbillon by D.Candaux, launched in 2018 and made in 8 pieces. As you see here, this is the D.Candaux DC6 Half Hunter. D.Candaux is an independent watchmaker who previously created chiming watches for Jaeger-LeCoultre and tourbillon watches for Fonderie 47 and Baudelaire. Under his own name, he's now crafting about 12 to 18 watches per year out of a converted barn on the family farm in the Vallée du Jeu in the town of Le Soliat. He is a third-generation watchmaker and engineer. This watch is his proposal for a modern sports tourbillon timepiece. So it's 43 millimeters in diameter in grade 5 titanium. It's 12.7 millimeters thick. It's 52.9 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and you can see 21 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. Now I'm going to throw the watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and though it is large, it's also quite flat. You can see that well from this angle, and then the curvature of the lugs and the shape matters as much as the span. It helps to arc the watch around the edge of the wrist, so while it fills my wrist up, and you can see that well here, it doesn't seem awkward. The watch falls away on each side. Of course, D.Candaux, a member of the AHCI, which is the Society of High-End Independent Watchmakers. Others, like Philippe Dufour, Carrie Voutilainen, and F. Pigeorn, are part of the AHCI, and the Academy includes D.Candaux, recently admitted. You can see the level of attention to details. We have a gold medallion held by polished screws inside the buckle. It features both polish and satination. You can see that the buckle itself is titanium and brushed, and then we have a strap, which is a combination of textile, a rubberized coating, leather internally, and then you can see there's an underlay. This is the DC6, Swiss made, and of course D.Candaux, reminding you who made the watch. The use of Velcro is unconventional on haute horlogerie pieces, but it's smart because not only is it secure, but if you have one of those in-between wrists and you're always between holes in the strap or between links in the bracelet, this allows for precise sizing. Now the case is all titanium, but there's a lot of nuance. You can see we have bolts polished and visible on the case flank, helping to assemble the components. A little bit of an industrial raw look, and that's compounded by the finishing of the titanium in profile. The titanium is not brushed in an obvious unidirectional fashion. It's multi-directional, it's milled, it's a little coarse. It's almost like a mountain bike comes out of a factory. A titanium mountain bike will have the similar milled, coarse finish, and that's deliberate because here we also have high polish. We have polish on the bevel of the lugs running end to end. You can see there's a gap between lugs and case. It's a wonderful, large, open, airy design. We have a polished bezel flank that is vertical. We have a almost cup-shaped underslung case profile that is brushed, and then we have a media blasted bezel, again also in titanium, and all of this wraps down around the crown at 6 o'clock. We should talk about this crown. It's called the Magic Crown. It involves 31 parts and 1 patent. So normally it's completely retracted to protect it, but when you press it, it pops out, and various different levels perform different tasks. All the way out, it winds. One level in, it sets the time, and then all the way in, it's protected, just like that. Very simple, intuitive, easy to use, and a lot of fun, I should add. You can see the D.Candaux logo. The little bear is on there, and again, like the buckle, both polish and satin finish. Now we have a dial that is actually guilloché you can touch. It is a design cut on a rose lathe called Pont de Roseau. It is based on a local plant outside the barn factory of D.Candaux, and you can see that it gives you something you rarely experience, which is guilloché with a tactile quality. You can see each plank is held on by blued screws. There's a lot of fine finish here. The entire dial is actually inclined at 3 degrees relative to the bezel, and so there are several steps up from the barrel to the escapement. Now the tourbillon itself is inclined at a further 30 degrees. The combination of the overcoil hairspring, the 3-degree slope of the dial, and the 30-degree slope of the tourbillon, helping to cancel out the effects of gravity on the regulator, much as you would have found on a vintage pocket watch tourbillon. Now you can see here that the tourbillon is a 1-minute tourbillon, And although the watch is not loomed, the tourbillon index is. The tourbillon features a fired blue cage, and you can see it's a flying tourbillon because it has no upper bridge to block your view. The cage features hand-finished to the extent that each of the bevels of the interior of the actual cage comes to a sharp inward beveled point. And those inward bevel points are very difficult to achieve, especially on components this small. Now you can also see that there's engine turning on the base plate. We have a number of black polished screws. The tourbillon, in addition to being a 1-minute tourbillon and a flying tourbillon, beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It does have an overcoil hairspring. It is adjusted in 6 positions, one more than a chronometer, and it's free sprung for durability and precise adjustment. Now, though this is a small manufacturer, again, only 12 to 18 watches a year, D.Candaux has gone through the trouble of designing his own free-sprung balance and his own escapement for better chronometric performance and resilience when it's on the wrist. So this is an impressive level of attention to detail, but it gets better. You can see that there's actually a golden plate below the tourbillon cage, and that's part of the movement, but it's also an engraved plaque that includes the technical specifications of the movement, things like the lift angle, for example, that future master watchmakers will be able to use to service, repair, and restore the watch if D.Candaux is not around in 100 years. So forward-looking in that regard. Turning it all over, by the way, I should mention we have a power reserve indicator, the heart and the spirit, it says. It is a manual wind 55-hour power reserve, and the watch is 1 of 8, so I've covered the serial numbers for the privacy of the previous owner, but you could probably guess the serial numbers from 1 through 8. Taking a quick look at the case back, this is caliber 1740. That refers to the year the first watchmaker was confirmed to have taken up residence and practice in the Vallée du Joux, which is now a celebrated watchmaking region of Switzerland. You can see the logo once again in gold, double finished, bolted to the grade 5 titanium bridges. Everything in here except the polished silver components, which are steel, made of grade 5 titanium. And you can see that Côte de Soliat have been applied. This is a special double-crested broad stripe that D.Candaux uses, and you can see it is quite luminous and complex. This is not a run-of-the-mill set of Geneva waves. Now, having a titanium watch with a titanium movement means the whole thing is very, very light, and you can see that to good advantage. Not only do we have those incredible stripes, but you can see black polishing on the smaller bridge bearing the drivetrain. You can also appreciate that the beveling is an absolute mile wide, and we have sharp outward points and no fewer than 23 inward angles in this movement. Very difficult to achieve. There are some Geneva hallmark movements that don't include one sharp inward angle or the angle where bevels meet. Here we have 23 of them. All the screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots and circumference, and the watch is 30 meters water resistant, so it is a sports watch and a sporty watch, but it's one to keep high and dry. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.